Hi, my name is Ron Perry, and you're watching the Old Bay District Build. This is a project that is funded by people just like you. Patrons fuel this channel with inspiration, and I then return the favor by building scale models and miniature terrain scenes. Becoming a patron is as easy as chipping in $1, and no, this is no money grab. All funds are used to support the building of more fine-scale modeling videos. In fact, because of our amazing patrons, we have our next project almost 50% funded already. I haven't even started it yet. And this carnival is going to be epic because of it. You know, before, most of my other projects, I just got a pail of scale wood, and that's the supplies that I've got to start with. All the doodads are done on the layout, right? But now, the big, beautiful models are purchased, and thank you. All the models have been purchased for the project and are ready to go. If you are entertained in any way watching these videos, I ask that you either become a patron or check out our sponsor, Helicon Focus, at modelersguild.com/HF. And I want to thank you for watching this video. Due to some kindly shared feedback, we have now a supply list of glues and tools and things like that I use on my models. Now, if you've got some advice, share it kindly. Nobody likes to have advice shared in a very critical way online. Critical feedback should be shared privately. Following up on last episode, we are adding our grass mat sheets to the layout. We're cutting the sheets up in small, oddly shaped sections. I attached the sheets to the layout by adding my full-strength weld bond glue to the back of the tarpaulin sheets. Not all glues stick properly to all substances, and sometimes you have to apply the glue before you get it wet, otherwise it won't stick at all. So you apply the weld bond to the tarpaulin when it's all perfectly dry, and then you'll get the best chance of gluing this thing down in the best way. And like I said last episode, I don't want to lay down the sheets in big patches. They should be in small pieces. And those small pieces have a lot of edges, so you really have to work in the edges in a certain way. Otherwise, you'll notice that you'll notice the edges, and it really is it really sticks out like a sore thumb. So, however, the other thing that you should note is that I'm not really focusing on that right now because I'm working on this project in the long haul. And making a video, a tutorial video would have you pushing through to the next step way before it's even necessary. And that's why I like doing these journal videos, because I'm not ready to worry about that stuff yet. And I'm just telling you because I know. Now, the silt I'm using is made out of limestone dust, and it's a really tan white, like it's a real light color. It's the lightest color that I've been able to find. I like to use different types of sand for model building purposes, and limestone just feels right for roads, at least in my area. in your area, you might be making your silt or whatever, your dust, out of like a reddish dirt, but it's all in the same style. So just because my road is like Canada White North, it might be red in your area. I don't know. Or brown. Could be brown too. Moving on to the shipyard driveway. The depth of space needed to fill in. How do I say that? For Christ's sake. I have to infill the road with about 1/4 inch of space. And I don't want to use my highly valuable silt that took like 2 weeks to settle out. You getting the tips on that little recipe there? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my foam board to fill in that space and then cap it off with my nice silt dirt. But this means that I have to paint my foam board so that if there's any space that rubs through, I don't want to get any white foam color popping through. That would ruin everything. So I glued the foam in to this just in a certain way so that I could run the road up square against it, kind of have the road come up as a ramp. And by doing this, I'm just simply saving on dirt. Normally I'd say let the glue dry for 48 hours before you move on, but we're working on the road right beside this very area. And you know, making these videos, I have to kind of compress my work sessions a wee bit, and that means we're going to be working on the road again while my grass mats are trying to dry. So I guess we're going to see how that works out. But point is that after I'm done this road section, I'm going to have to give the layout some rest time to dry out, because the water has to go somewhere and we don't want it building up in an extreme way. And I'm sure on your layout you might never have this problem, but I'm working fairly quick on this layout here, and I bet you I've added a lot of water to it. So I have to determine this into the game plan, otherwise I'm gonna have a big problem. I've also turned the heat up in the shop to deal with it in the overnight period, so that it's kind of drying out a little bit more. So I'm actually thinking about that too. Now you might be asking yourself, why am I not putting anything on top of my undulated hills? Thanks again, Jason. Just for you. The fact of the matter is that I'm gonna have to put trees somewhere, and on top of these hills are ideal places to place my trees. And not only does it make it so that my trees are prominent on top of a hill, I don't really have to have a very large trunk on the tree for it to be what's the word? I don't know. Oh, you know, I'm pretty good at words so far this episode, but words are still hard, my friends. More prominent, right on top of the hill kind of thing. And then, you know, I'm thinking in my head, I don't have a real plan for it just yet. And if you've got comments on good ideas, share them below. But I'm thinking about making tree roots onto the trees too, and attaching them with, like, you know, crazy glue, or maybe some kind of plasticine or moldable clay. I don't know. I'm just getting like you know, ideas of how, like when you're doing a project like this, you get a vision. Well, I get like a little picture inside my head, and it's kind of like I don't see a model railroad. I kind of see Sleepy Hollow from the Harry Potter movies, and I see crooked trees, and I see atmosphere and a skyline. Like, the mind's eye is a beautiful thing. So we're leaving these hills open so that I can just worry about that when it comes time. Now, before I add the dirt, I wanted to paint these little foam blocks. And what happens here is a nice little clinic in saving your butt. You know, I like to make my mistakes live on camera. And in this instance, my mistake was adding all this darn gray paint. And by adding all the nice little water after I add the dirt, well, that pulls that paint right up on through the dirt, right on top of the dirt itself. And the fix came to me while having a beer, standing there regretting the whole process. You know, it's often you're drinking a beer regretting what happened just before, or maybe just after. I don't know. It's just a personal thing, I guess. But my fix came in the form of my ink and alcohol. My INA came to the rescue by spreading INA directly from the bottle onto the sand. It hit the paint and forced it to go back down from whence it came, which was genius. I didn't really know it was going to work that well. And I actually, to tell you the truth, when I first did it, I didn't think it worked at all. But the next day I woke up and the angels were singing. Now, hold up. Don't worry. I'm going to have it on camera for you. Just in a couple of minutes. And I'll sit there and have a beer with you while you giggle away at me. But then you'll see the aftershots. Now, waking up to the road like that was a real relief. Or driveway, I should call it a driveway. Words are hard. Anyways, it was a real relief to have it all turn out the way it did. You know, coming out real white looking just like I wanted from my limestone silt. However, if it didn't work, what would have I done? Now, I would have done exactly what I'm doing with the dirt road out yonder. And I would just pound more of my silt into it, and it would sit on top and look great, and I'd have to glue it in, of course, but it would work. As long as that gray is dry before you start adding your glue and stuff that's gonna leach it out. That's the problem. And what I did with the ink and alcohol was create a, and remember science class, an emulsion of some sort. Well, maybe it wasn't an emulsion. Ah, come on, I was just trying to be smart. I think I just yanked it. Ah, crap. Now, I don't want to get lost on the point of the road. Now, this is the third application of dirt onto the weird tarmac version of the road at the entrance of the driveway to the sawmill. And the other dirt road that was made in a sort of different way has also had about 2 or 3 applications of limestone silt pounded into it. And I'm using just a real ratty old brush to pound it in like a pile driver, and it just settles it out, and it seems to be the best way to get the silt to sit down in an even and uniform way so that I can spray it them with water. And still, I'm not worried about the amount of glue that I'm adding, because it really is working out well. As long as I don't have that super thick coat of glue underneath that will leach up through. That, you know, that gray paint was a good lesson for us today. There's a real chemistry to making all this scenery stuff, and if you know how to battle against these things, then you're all the wiser. Remember that Patreon little gig on the front and the back of the video at times like these. Now, I want to add some scratch-made details from a few railroad crossing signs that I made off of some photocopies. Now, I'm only using scrap wood from an old box, and I believe it was stained with the steel and vinegar stain. Nobody's come up with another name for it yet, so it still stays as one of the longest names possible. It's kind of a thing these days in the hobby of model railroading. However, making the signs, I'm using crazy glue for this. Not a gel, just the normal flowing crazy glue. I don't know if I'm gonna get criticized for it or what have you, but it's good enough. I made this thing in about 5 minutes, and I could make it 100 times down the road, so if the crazy glue fails, be ready for an update. Making details like these are very simple, and they add so much to the scenic value of your terrain. You could have gone to the store and bought some crossing gates and signals, or you could have ordered online, but you didn't need to. And if you have the proper sized wood, you're up ahead. And I've given advice lots of times before, and I'm not allowing myself anymore to talk about where I get my wood. Now in the background, a keen eye will see sagebush. And I think we're gonna start trying to manicure ourselves up. An old man wood tree. The old crookedy, woody, lots of roots hang around like big crow's feet. I think it's going to be fun. I love every part of this project because there's nothing holding me back. And, I can really only thank one group of people for doing that for me. Having patrons is blowing my creativity right out of the water. I feel obligated to produce, obligated to have the time of my life. What in the heck? If you have been entertained in any way, have you learned something in this video? Are you well, it was through my mistake. I'm gonna just shut up on that because it could go too far. But if you like what you see in this video today, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/Ron Perry. Become a patron of the arts. And if you're not interested in becoming a patron, please consider checking out Pelican Focus, the best photographic software for stacking photos. I know you can get free software for this, but it's when you're using the free software, you have to use like 4 or 5 different free softwares, and you don't know where you're getting the program from. Are you getting a hacked program? Is it adding some Russian spy software into your junk? You never know. Pelican Focus, there you go. They got it all in one package. You get a lifetime of updates. And after that diatribe, holy cripes, why wouldn't you go check it out? www.modelersguild.com/HF. We'd like to thank Pelican Focus for sponsoring the show. I want to thank you for watching. If you are, interested in this stuff, like, subscribe, Patreon. Talk to you later.